Hi there. You miss me? I'm back. Anyway, this is episode 2 of my SoapBox series, my little vlog that I started. Sorry this new episode is so soon. I ain't trying to clog up y'all feed, but I kind of have a retraction to make, and so I thought I should just go ahead and make it, even if it's soon. The thing I want to say is, I think I kind of spoke too soon or misspoke in the other episode when I said that the majority of modern theists, particularly Christians, are cowardly because they won't come out and speak on these subject matters in any forum in which they could be contested. They won't speak on it. They'll talk about it in church, or they'll talk about it in private amongst other believers, but they won't speak on it when it matters, when it could make a difference. And I was saying that makes them cowardly, and on further reflection, I don't think that's true. This is what I'm thinking now, after I put a little bit more thought into it, is, for one, there's a good chunk of theists, particularly Christians, that'll come forward and speak on their subject matters, in public forums where they could be contested. Maybe even as much as 25%, and that's including like pastors and preachers and blah blah blah, right? But the rest of them, it's not that they're cowardly. The other percentage that doesn't come out and speak on stuff, I don't think it's that they're cowardly. I think it's that a part of them is still intellectually honest. Part of them still understands that, what? I'm not really totally convinced of all this bullshit. I really want it to be true. I really, really want to believe it. And whenever I'm surrounded by fellow followers, I feel like it's true. And we all, say it to each other, and we nod our heads, and oh yeah, and fucking high five each other, or whatever the fuck it is we do, right? So then I feel like it's true, but I'm not going to speak on it in any situation where it might be contested, because, to be honest, I'm really not that convinced. I just, I think most of them are kind of playing along. And then there's that 25% that does come out and speak on it, the ones who become pastors, preachers, or apologetics, or just make YouTube videos spouting off their beliefs. And so I think that percentage, I don't think they're cowardly either. What I think they are is they're willing to lie. That percentage are the people who have no qualms about manipulating, conniving, lying by omission, outright stating to have witnessed events that they did not, stating to have had different phenomena happen that did not. That's the percentage that'll speak up. The dishonest ones, the ones that are totally willing to be dishonest in order to continue the facade, to galvanize their fantasy. Maybe some of them even to themselves know it's bullshit. I think actually some of them do, but they're trying to galvanize the fantasy for others. They don't want the rest of the people's bubble burst and for them to lose their audience. So that's what I think it really is. It's not that the majority are cowards. The majority are just still not quite convinced. They're still, at least part of them, is intellectually honest. And then that other percentage are just fucking liars. They're willing to say whatever it takes. You know, even if maybe, I don't know what the reason could be. Maybe it's just so that maybe they like attention. Maybe they like to be heard. Maybe they like the sound of their own voice. I don't know. Something like that could be, for whatever reason. But it's not, I don't think, that they're cowards. So that's that. That's my little retraction. Now, I got some requests for some subject matters to cover, what my little thoughts might be on a couple of subjects. First subject was on child indoctrination. Somebody wanted to know my thoughts on child indoctrination. And obviously, I think that shit is heinous. It's probably the biggest threat to our nation and to civilization as a whole. And I think that because at this point, the methods for child indoctrination in America have become particularly insidious and particularly sinister. And that's evidenced by things like Jesus Camp, or by that I can't think of the name of that, the Good News Club type organizations. From what I understand, last I looked, there was 3,400 of them in public schools in the United States. Things like that. It's, and they know now how to manipulate the law so that once they're in there, they're like fucking herpes. You can't get rid of them. There's no cure. There's not even a legal cure. And they know this. They've become truly desperate, and by becoming truly desperate, knowing that they've been losing so many numbers in the last 20 years or so, realizing that they're losing the argument, they're really targeting the children, the ones whose minds are still pulp, the ones who, they could basically open up that kid's head and take a dump in it and swirl it around a little bit and say, that's beautiful paradise, and the kid will fucking believe it. It's the equivalent to me for those who I think know that their shit, that their religious shit is unfounded, which I think is most of them by now. They had to have heard the arguments. So it's the equivalent of being a crackhead and wanting so bad for your kid to be like you that you take some crack and you crumble it up and mix it in with their Cocoa Puffs in the morning or something every morning. Or something like that. You want that kid to be a clone of you so fucking bad that you are willing to cause them brain damage, you are willing to retard your child for the sake of carrying on a little you. And that's just really, really foul. Now, you're going to have some fucking apologists likely going to get on here, see this shit, see my little stupid rant, and say, but y'all are indoctrinating our children with the evolution. It's just as bad. But there's reasons why it's not as fucking bad. And here's why. First off, teaching your children evolutionary theory, which is a fact, by the way, is beneficial both to that child and to society as a whole. It helps to better understand medicine, it helps to better understand science, it helps to better understand just our own human anatomy, so they can understand their own bodies better, they can understand their own urges, their own instincts, their own... It's almost like a total package, man. Evolutionary theory explains so much real life stuff that to be able to teach a child that and get them to understand, why it is and how it works is immensely valuable, man. Whereas, by contrast, teaching a child the fairy tales of religion, of Christianity, from a very young age. Yeah, it makes them, quite solid, makes them much more likely to continue to believe that bullshit as they grow up. Other than that, it has no discernible value. It doesn't make prayer work. Prayers still don't work, no matter how fucking hard you believe. It doesn't make your God any more real. It doesn't fix any fucking problems, and if anything, it just seems, now I know correlation doesn't equal causation, but if anything, it just seems to make crime rates go up. It makes the child much more likely to end up in a prison. It makes teen pregnancy rates go up. It makes STD rates go up. It increases divorce rates. In areas where that are most religious, IQs are lower, overall education levels are lower, quality of life is lower. Teaching kids that shit doesn't do anything but make them ill from the start. Teaching them these hateful doctrines that we're born befouled, that we're born unworthy of love unless we accept this blood sacrifice, which likely didn't even fucking happen, and even if it did, it's meaningless. It's the equivalent of teaching your kid that Santa Claus is real and then insisting that they continue to believe that all throughout their lives. It isn't doing anyone any good. But I think that the Christian right is partaking in that, and so many Christians are comfortable with that because they know they've lost so much ground that the only way they're going to be able to come back in any kind of numbers is to raise a child army, is to raise an army of children who believe that shit so in their core that no evidence potentially could cure them of this mind virus. The Christians know that. That's why they're targeting the children like that. They know they can't rely upon your average family to indoctrinate the children anymore. And they know that people are more than willing to find other ways to spend quality times with their families rather than sitting in some musty old church listening to some likely hypocrite ramble on about fairy tales. So they're taking it in their own hands. They'll fucking backdoor the whole thing and teach your kids regardless of what the fuck you think is good for your kid. And regardless of what statistics show and what the science shows and what social science shows is good for your child. They don't give a fuck about your child. They care about increasing their numbers. They care about keeping the illusion alive, so to speak. And so yeah, it's one of the most foul things I can think of, and it's one of the things that makes me want to straddle some theists, when I hear or see them doing that. It really makes me want to hurt somebody because, even though those aren't my children are grown. But I see the damage it does, man. I've been through some of the damage it does. So anyway, that's basically my thoughts on that. I'm sorry I rambled on, and that kind of didn't seem to be about a whole bunch. But that's what it is. The other subject I was asked to talk about is whether or not I thought that Jesus' crucifixion, as portrayed in the Bible, actually equals a sacrifice. and here's the thing about that. For something to be a sacrifice, the party giving the sacrifice has to lose something. In the fable of Jesus, the fable of Christ, nothing is lost. He goes in, he knows already, supposedly, what the scenario is. He knows what he needs to do, because he's, he either is God or he's so intricately linked with God that he might as well be God. So he knows what the deal is. And He knows I got to go through this bullshit. I'll take a fucking dirt nap for about 3 days. And then I'm going to get up. I'm going to hang out with my homies a little bit. We're all going to high-five each other again. You know, maybe give some daps, right? You know? And then I'm going to fly up into space and take my place on the throne as ruler of the universe. What exactly did he lose? Anyone? Yeah, he didn't fucking lose anything. If anything, he gained from that scenario, as did Yahweh, whether you want to consider them the same creature or not. Either way, nothing was lost. There was no actual sacrifice. It wasn't even an investment when you think about it, because an investment, you're risking something. You at least risk potential loss. There was no risk in this case. If we were to assume that the biblical tale, the biblical legend is true, then he was assured to get up in 3 days. He knew that this was gonna come out on top. Where's the risk? Where's the sacrifice? What did he lose? People always go like, oh, poor God, he gave his only begotten son. He got up fucking 3 days later. What the fuck did he didn't give up anything. Besides, he's fucking supposedly all-powerful. He can make another fucking son. That's fucking retarded. He lost nothing. If I were to sacrifice my son and he died, he's fucking gone forever. I lose and he loses. That's a fucking sacrifice. It's so fucking retarded. It's unconceivable. But, you know, if you don't have the whole feel sorry for God because he made a sacrifice, feel sorry for Jesus because he made a sacrifice, then you don't have a very good story. And if you can't get people emotionally attached to it, they're kind of not going to care. So that's why they push that side of it and never bring up the question, well, wait a minute. Why is Jesus his only son? And what did he really lose in that sacrifice? Nobody brings that up, because then you won't be emotionally invested. It's a way to fucking guilt you in this shit. Think about it. So no, I don't think it was any kind of sacrifice. I think it's quite clear in the story that it was no kind of sacrifice, despite the fact that the story describes it as a sacrifice. It doesn't seem to understand itself what a sacrifice actually is. Or maybe it's like that because it's a big jumbled together, you know, cobblepot of fucking random stories punched together and forced to make some kind of, you know, cohesive storyline. But yeah, no, I don't buy the sacrifice shit. I do fucking hate child indoctrination, and I think that's a lot of what's going to lead us towards future civil war. And to correct myself, I no longer think that most Christian theists are cowards. I think the majority aren't actually believers, and the minority are fucking liars. So yeah, that's SoapBox episode 2. And hey, you want to see my kitty real quick? Here's my kitty. Yeah, this is Stumpy. See the Stumpy kitty? See, I'm pulling Steve Shives right now by making my cat be all on the screen. Kitty, what you doing? This is my stray cat that I got off the streets a few weeks ago. His name is Stumpy. He's only got half a tail. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, come on, kitty, don't fight. He's only got half a tail. Here you go, kitty. He done got fat already. But anyway, so yeah, there's my second episode. Sorry it was so soon. Too bad. Suck it up. See y'all next time.